Well, hello everybody. This is going to be my first YouTube video. Hopefully everything turns out where I like it. But this is a start of a new chapter. Uh, I'm going to start my videos, but to start it off with, we're going to start off with Railroader. I do have a save already. uh, Played this for a while. Railroader is still in early access, as it says over here. Welcome to Railroad Early Access. Uh, I was going to start this later, however, taking a while for the new update, aka Maintenance of Way, to come out. So, because of that, we're going to start with a new railroad. We're just going to start off with whatever that is, the Almond and North Andrews Railroad. Sure, we'll start off with that. And then we'll go with the, we're just going to put down the A and NARR. And we're going to start. Now, first things first, when I jump in, I am going to edit the audio. So, settings. We're going to just go to wear and tear. Yeah, all that looks pretty good. Time. Usually like that to be there. Since I'm going to be playing mostly single player, I'm just going to turn that down to there. Okay. And then we're also going to go here to sound. We're going to just kind of turn that down. So we'll turn that back up to what it was, 70. We'll turn the engines down to 60 because I know these 70 I think will be good for that. Dynamo, fine. Yeah, everything else we'll just leave there. And because the tutorial, I've already been through it, we're just going to close out the tutorial. We're going to get this engine back on its tracks. I always usually like naming my locomotives. Shift R. And Shift R. There. That's back on the track, and that's back on the track. There we go. In the number 2, we'll get this all handled quickly. It has been a while since I played, I will be entirely honest. Now, one thing I do like about this game is it has a sit-down feature. Kind of what I'm hoping to see in Century of Steam, which is a game that I'm excited to see come out soon. It's not going to come out for a bit, but it does look like a fun game whenever it does set up for us. Don't want to rush out the yard and derail, but at the time, yeah, I like to just get us to move. Then, as I've said, it's been a while since I played, so getting used to some of it. Yeah, hopefully this video does well. Today, the main objective is just run the first passenger train. get maybe the first, which actually since I got the money, I'm going to take out some loans. We'll pay them back eventually. Eventually is keyword. Slow down too, because that is a switch. We do not want to derail, as we can hear by that screaming at me, basically. Doing the forwards. Let's see if the points are switched. Okay, they are. And we're going to do this the way fun, but also more dangerous. Why? There's the one thing I do like is that you can drive a train in here if you want. You don't have to, but you can. Correct. We're going to apply the brakes now. Let's pray for the best. Okay, apparently we could have done that without having to worry. There we go, we're coupled. Now the one thing I do like is that you can, if you wanted, you can come out and couple it there, and then just somehow, like, you have to jump for it, but you can. Then at night you can turn that on if you want. Open up the hatch if you want. Open up the hatch. Let some of the steam come out. Okay. Up throttle. Then, because we're no longer technically just alone, I do that, I can jump to where I need to go. But this game, for how much it is a very good, reliable game. Now, I do wish you could, if you wanted, have a fireman. You can't really in this game yet. Have a fireman. You can have somebody in the cab with you to do what, like what I just did earlier, which I can do also from this distance. But you can't there's no real way to open up the like you can. I'll back up and do that. I'll back up and not derail. But you can open the firebox, and yeah, it's not like a perfect fire, but still not bad. Except you can't do anything with it, which is like the only bummer thing about it is it would be awesome if you could, if you wanted, have a fireman to do the coal firing, because that would be cool. There are a decent amount of locomotives. They add a map. Actually, after I get this transferred to where it needs to go, with also operations, we'll have it unload at Whittier Yard, and we'll have it get reloaded at the siding. The locomotive list, like rosters, are really decent. You got, and I do like that you have the design. So we have the G16, which we have over here, the T10 10-wheeler, which is what we start off with. We start off with the first two, like the first two that show up are the first two that we actually have, which is nice. Technically, this locomotive has a little bit less tractive effort and all that. They're basically the same, like, other than One carries more coal and water, and then the other one carries 3 tons of coal and less water also, but does have that little bit more tractive effort, which doesn't do much, but it does help. Then you have your Pacific, which is your small Pacific. You have the bigger 10-wheelers. You have two of them, which are two different styles, which this one right here I always love because it reminds me of like the Casey Jones type of locomotive, like that Rogers 10-wheeler. Really love it. You got the 060 American switcher. You got the American 440. You got a consolidation, which kind of looks like one of the ones that Casey Jones started driving back in what, like one of the first ones he started. I think that one was 632 or 630. I can't remember the locomotive number off the top of my head, but if you look up, I'm pretty sure you'll have a consolidation that looks almost like this. You got the bigger mogul, which is reminiscent of the Strasburg Railroad here in Pennsylvania, over in Lancaster, number 89, I believe is her number, Canadian Pacific originally, but she, we got this one. As you can see, it starts getting a little bit more. Water capacity doesn't exactly move up until like the very end. As you can see, they're mostly all around the same water capacity. I think the most they get in the early game is the American has like 6,000, kind of like this one has 4,000. Uh, but water, you have a bunch of water towers. Your cooling towers and water towers are around the same. However, as you can see, like this one, very small cooling tower. Then you have your actual cooling towers in some of the other areas. But you got your Atlantics, you got one tank engine, which I do hope they add like an 060 tank engine or some, some other tank engine. Because we got a logging tank engine, but give us like one that did shunting mostly. You got your Mikado, also what I would call, I'm a World War II fan, your MacArthur's, because during World War II they were nicknamed MacArthur's because Mikado is apparently Japanese, I think is the whole railroad history. You got your Macedons, which resembles another Strasburg Railroad locomotive, also Norfolk and Western, because it's still in that livery. You get your bigger Pacific. Uh, you got your Decapod. You got your bigger medium. They're more medium. You got your medium Pacific and your medium consolidation. Then you get your beefy Pacific, the final boss of your Pacifics, with 15 tons of coal and 14 gallons of water. As I said, you finally get into the better capacity. Uh, you get your consolidation with a decent amount. I mean, your Berkshire is like, I think that's actually the one that has the biggest. It's your Berkshire, aka Polar Express, for people that just look at the locomotive wheelbase and all that. She's like your real final engine because you got the Santa Fe, which is Santa Fe all the way, but as you can see, doesn't have the amount of coal or water that the Berkshire has at the very end. I mean, tractive effort she's got on the Berkshire, but really, when it comes down to it, basically this is your final boss locomotive. You got 3 diesels, you got plenty of like rolling stock that you can buy. You got like 3 cabooses. You got an observation car. You got 3 types of coaches right now. I think they're planning on at some point giving us. Uh, they're planning on giving us at some point baggage cars. You got your box cars that you can use to, as you can see, hold repair parts. There's one in the back of the shed right over here. Uh, Basically, you have the better the amount of tons you hold, the longer your cars will stay uh, full. Another thing is if you don't derail your trains, you're usually good. You got your logging cards, which you can use to fill up your sawmill. Like we start off with like 7 of them. You got your pulpwood, which you don't start off with, but you can use them in some of the expansions. You got your tank cars for your fueling of your diesel depots whenever you build them. You got your coal hoppers, which we start off with a 2-bay right here, as you can see, but you can get a 3-bay, which holds a lot more. Uh, Another thing you have is if you don't feel like always watching where your locomotives are, you have what you have as waypoints. So, like, if I want to talk and not focus on that as much, I can just tell the train, hey, go pick that stuff up. And as you can see, the locomotive is going to pick that up. And in the meantime, if I said, let's decorate our cars or customize the numbering. So we have 250. Say you don't want 250. You go to this, and then you go to the equipment allows you to sell or repair area. You can pick what stations you want. So right now we only have 2 stations, so you give you check mark them. And then you have operations, which is with train crews. You got also with equipment, you have this little bottom one, customization. Say you want it to be start off with 150. You can do 150. Starts there. Text is already there. That's up there. I'm not going to mess with it. I don't feel like trying to respell everything. And then say, because I always do it, I buy a second coach because, well, you're going to need one more with how everything goes. It loads right there. Handbrake's already applied. This one never has the handbrake already applied, but you might as well just set it. And it allows you to basically have a second coach at the very start. You won't need that until about day 3 is when you finally start getting more into operations. Then you'll realize parts of the track you need to repair. Like technically, this part of the rails you do not own yet. This is one you can purchase for about 10,000 at early game, or if you get a good reputation, you get about 25% discount, allowing you to purchase it for roughly I think 7,500 in the early game. Or you can start building the bridge over to connect to Brightson, which is what we're going to buy first. So we're going to order the 13 cars to take to the bridge site and all that. But yeah. So yeah, as I was saying, basically, um, it allows you to do a bunch of stuff. Freight cars will not come in till the next day, so basically during this first day, I would say try to do as much as you can. Get your one locomotive back in the work shed so that you can get that. Another thing that will help you in the long run. Uh, First thing you want to do is basically you don't have an unload section yet because you don't have a contract. But do load this up. I usually first start with logging at Connie Creek L2, and then you just kind of copy and couple to all of these cars. Uh, it won't be filled with logs yet. It takes like a day for them to get filled up with logs at the very beginning because If you go locations, Cardi Creek is up here. If you go to look at the logs, it usually fills up 12 cards per day, but because it's a new save, you don't got a lot of logs to start off with. So you have no real reason to start off with the contract yet. Um, some people start off with it and then they kind of realize, oh crap, I can't do anything with it yet. Also, I always apply that handbrake. But let's couple up to our coaches and then we will start running our first train. Uh, this will run out of parts relatively soon. That's the other thing that if you don't feel like doing the tutorial, basically you just go to locations and then say you don't really feel like it. You can technically repair if it will cost you, but $500 a day. It's higher pay. You pay higher, but it allows it to be basically uh, repaired quickly. I think I got the oil turned off actually, I think. So let's check here. Oh, sweet. We're about to couple up to that one. I'm just going to turn that one off, let it couple up. Then once it's coupled up, we'll couple up to the other one and basically head off. And the more equipment you own, the more loans you can take usually. The more rails and all that, the better everything is. You can also pick up contracts. As I said, the sawmill you don't want to do anything with on your first day. Uh, if you do want to start off anything, start with like the oil contracts. You can start with those first thing. Um, Usually, what I would say is go ahead and start with the Ella Farm Supply, and I mean you can start the oil and the contracts also that day. I usually don't, but just to demonstrate, might as well. Um, then basically turn on your air brakes, and then because we can, I'm just going to drive the loco where we pick up passengers. I am going to real quick make sure that we will not do a Strasbourg railroad and go into any of our railroad equipment. Um, if you know, you know. That's not fun railroading there. But it's what happens exactly. Yeah, the further you go, the less you have to hear the engine moving. You also get to look at the map, and the map you can tell needs some more stuff. They have already admitted that they plan on adding some more track like more out scenery and stuff like that. Sorry, had to think of the word. They do plan on adding more scenery at some point, um, which will be nice. I know that I'm looking forward to seeing what will come out next. We're also going to just turn the engine noises down to about, we'll move it to about 25. Um, just because, yeah, that is a bit loud. And that barely did anything. And that should be about what would work. Wheels we are going to put back up to 100 or not 100. We'll put it to about 100. Then turn off and turn on your frame brake. That will allow you. And you're still within the station area. What you want to do is you want to hit input, and then you want to hit passengers. Now we're already at Whittier. You click on it, it will already check mark you off. Like it will tell you, hey, no, you can't do that. You're already here. However, it does allow you to do that. And while we're loading up with people, as you can see, I did copy, and so now it's copied to everybody else. We're also going to go to equipment, and I usually try to go with a yellow color. I I go with a yellow color for my coaches at first because I don't know, it kind of, and I am colorblind, so I try to go with the best I can do because I can tell colors, but it's not like at the same time the best amount. Yeah, that looks okay. Apply, and then let's go with red. Cool. I go with these colors because I think they look relatively okay for what they are. I try to do like, even though technically the railroad is the game takes place in, I think, a part of North Carolina. I think is because the town of Andrews, so I think it's North Carolina going kind of near West Virginia. I think it's right on the border. Basically, it's supposed to be, the game takes place right around the turn of the age. Also, something that you can do is you can open up time window, and let's say we want to wait an hour to see if anybody else shows up. We can, and then we still got 31. We got 19 passengers that all go to. That is not filling up though. That might be an update that they only go into one car first and then they slowly fill up more. Because usually they would go into the railroad car a little bit more. But might be fixed. Because as I said, I've not played in a while. Then J allows you to control your headlight on far, headlight off. Tab, as I said, allows you to do that. B allows you to do the bell, which you're not here for some reason. Did I mute that one? No, no. Just can't hear it for some reason. Okay. might because I muted the main and I lowered the main volume. Maybe that's why. No, no, just okay. So that's something that not usual, but I will go with. I mean, it allows you to be quiet, I guess. Usually, um, you're just stuck with the standard coloring, the standard black, which is a bummer. There is a mod that allows you to kind of decorate some of them, not all of them, but some. You can decorate into different liveries. Uh, you can get different locomotives. As I said, there's a lot of locomotives you can get for the game right now. Because, as I said, it's in early access. But you do get a lot of logos at the start, but you have on Nexus mod, you have like I think it's the H2, a Western Maryland H2, or maybe just H class. You have these, regular diesels that you can get. Uh, you have dockyard shunters. You have a bunch of mods that allow you to either extend the map or uh, get new logos. I usually just stay with the standard. Uh, I just part of me wants to be surprised whenever we get the new game. Like new updates are always fun. I always go about 30 here, never more. Um, Sometimes I'll push it a little bit more. Like this is not the dangerous curve, but coming around the next curve will be dangerous territory. Uh, Here, the most I would push is you can maybe push 40, but that would be the most I would say you should push, due to the fact that it can cause damage more than you can believe, because you can hear the wheels there, the high pitched squeaking. That is basically your wheels letting you know, hey, we don't exactly like that. Um, they'll let you know when they're not happy. That is the full-on truth there. This is where we want to slow down, because as you can see, that says 30, and it's good reason why, because this is a sharp curve that is not fun to go around. We're going 35, or 33 now, but as you can see, our engine, she is leaning a little bit. Now she's straightened out a little. Uh, Now I'll let her pick back up to her normal speed, because I do like the speed with my locomotives. Locomotive speed is something I always like. You do, at the same time, want to keep careful, because you do have conditions of your rolling stock. Um, you don't want them to exactly uh, go too far over. You also have overhaul, so most rolling stock and stuff like this is good for about 2,500 miles. You can edit that in the one feature. Hold on. Here's our stop. Okay. So we'll just stop right here. As you can see, once we stop, it'll take a few seconds. But then you'll have them slowly unload from the car. As you can see, you don't have to be lined up. You just need to have one of your cars lined up, I think. Because, yeah. And then another thing you can do is say because you're heading back, you go to passengers, and you're going back down to Whittier. You can load that, and so you go right above this, you can see there's 13 passengers waiting. they're only going to Whittier because that's all you have. But now they start to load, and actually we have about more than 13. I think I saw 13 at first. There was 9. There were 20. So we have 20 people that are going to be going back to Whittier once we are unloaded all the way. This, because when it first came out, this building right here was not existent. It is a nice feature to have another farm building, because yeah, it does fit with this area somewhat. Um, the road does end abruptly. Hopefully, we get the roads finished at some point, because it would be nice to have roads that don't just end out of nowhere. Um, okay, we can head back. So we're gonna just have our train slowly head back. We have nobody there, but we do have 20 passengers there. We can check our rolling stock from this area. So say you want to look at Pacific Loco, you just hit that. And let's see how this is doing. Condition-wise, it is already almost fully built back to working condition, which is good. When we come back, we can get her filled up with cold water, and then the next day we can use both our locos, which will be nice. As I said, I'm probably just going to play this first video because it is a long video, and I do not, at this moment, know how to edit. I plan on editing at some point, uh, but I also plan on doing a few different type of games once in a while. Um, this is just what I'm going to start off with. I'll probably possibly have another game to display later tonight. One of the other games. This is probably going to be the first that I upload, and then I'll upload another at another point of time. But yeah, basically this is a just the start to getting this stuff done. We do get a decent amount of money the further you go. So finances, you can see how much you made. So we only made about $54, which is what we had 54 on that train anyways to begin with. So, you know, you don't get a whole lot of money at the beginning, but the further you go down the line, the more money you get. So it does help that type of situation. You also have your railroad. As you can see, we have no reputation on our because you have your repair speed bonus, your purchase discount, and your equipment discount. You don't have a reputation yet because the daily report ends at 6 p.m. So we're going to, after we do this, we're going to just kind of skip to the next day, which does start at good old 5 a.m. When you sleep through the day, though, it does start off at 6 a.m. So basically, don't sleep through the day if you're going to change your interchange yard to say how I did, because I did features, or not features, but I changed the interchange time to 5. You can go to 4 a.m. if you want. You can do it at 6. I usually, at the beginning, I start at 5, and I later in the game, I sometimes go to 4 a.m. so you can get your stuff moved a lot better. However, you'll realize you don't get everything from the interchange always perfectly on time. Just never does fully do that. You have later in the game, trust me, later in the game when you're running 2 trains, these help a whole lot. Because when you're playing with 2-player, comes in handy too. But when it's just you, and you're just doing, uh, as I showed you, you can do the uh, auto engineer, basically, I'll call it. These help a lot. They do. As you can see, we have our train coming past. Right around the time that passes me, we'll apply brakes. The train brakes, so it won't slow you down as quick, but just slow you down pretty decent. If you're not driving a heavy train, like these are two passenger cars, they're heavy, but it's not like you're pulling like 100 freight cars full of gravel. Um, that's when you're going to need your air brakes. Your air brakes help you when you need to stop suddenly, or when you're just kind of needing to stop below. Takes a while for you to unload your passengers um, sometimes, but they do help. And as I said, you can go to waypoint. Let's say I didn't feel like going anywhere too important. I can just drop off the passenger cars. Let's say I can just drop them off here. Now we're gonna let the train finish unloading them. But after they unload, which they're now done, we can turn our speed up to 45. That's just maximum speed for this area. And then it just takes itself off, which is nice. You know what? I want to. Because we had the engine off and not sure what that was. So you do need to have the engine sound on for you to hear the bell and the whistle. Because, yeah, I guess that is part of the engine, but we would have thought since there's two different sounds for that, that meant you could keep it kind of quiet. Does that just mean we need to lower the environment with that? You gotta be somehow able to slow this kind of make it a little bit quieter. But they are pretty loud. I will admit, the locomotives are pretty loud in the game, but they are helpful. And while we're doing that, we'll also go to open window, and we'll let about so it's almost 5 a.m. now officially in game. Because as you can see, it's in military time. So, yeah, when you do this and you open up times window, it does open this up. You have wait 5 minutes, wait 15, wait 1 hour, 6 hours, and then sleep, which, okay, apparently they fixed that. Now it only sleeps until your interchange time. So that actually does help. Originally, it did not always do that. So it's nice to see that a thing. Interchange are these two tracks. However, actually, we're going to move these two over there because I do not feel like trying to shunt them. And then if you want, which I always do, because it does get harder, you can buy yourself at the beginning, because I took out that money loan. You can, if you wanted, buy another locomotive. Now, it starts off with its own number, so this is starts off as number 100. you can customize it by going to equipment, going to number, and going to number 3. So that is consistent. And then you can go to different withstands. So you can go to a standard 3 time, you can go to a, I think that's a central, I don't know what that is, but you have different railroad names. I'm just not really always great with the railroad names. I think this is a Canadian National, you have the New York Central, Western Maryland 3 times, which I like the Western Maryland 3 time, even though it doesn't go with anything entirely. But it does sound pretty nice for loco. And then you can just, so we'll just move this one. We'll move it forward to get it cold and watered, and because that won't take much time, we can open time window and we can let, I would say, about 10 minutes pass. Because that way we're about 6 minutes until we have to worry in game. And if you hit Shift and H, you can do that, or you can hit V. I didn't hear it. Not great how they did, because that's using the V. Using V, you can do that type of thing, and as you can see, it's not a heavy-duty Pacific, but it's not a bad-looking Pacific either. It's just a smaller Pacific. You lower the coal load, and then you'll slowly have the coal rise in the tender. You can technically do this in first person, but your character does not have to always be with the loco, which is the nice part. Like, you don't always have to be with every locomotive. Like, number 1, you can have in the shed, and you can technically just chill in number 1 while you also operate number 3 away, which is a nice thing. The nice thing about this game is you can technically climb up the ladders, and the coal is actually something you can stand on, which is nice. They actually made it functional. This is also a fully operational thing. You can walk all the way, and then just jump, and yeah, you're right next to your loco, which is nice. And then you have your, like, you can change your headlights inside of here too if you wanted. As I said, you can turn on that light. It doesn't do much. You can't with this one, and there's like a few that you can't with. You can't open up the firebox for some reason. Never understood why. It's like, why can't I open up the firebox? It's weird. But it's like one of the only locomotives that you can't really open up the firebox with. Which it's whatever. I mean, it sucks, but. And then you can, if you want to be OCD about it, which I am, open up the water. I mean, it's not like you can be perfect sometimes. Like, if you do this, you can basically get to the point that you're taking in water properly and it's only splashing a little. Um, it is annoying though. It's one of the things that does annoy me is trying to get it perfect. It's just, you might as well try not to. Uh, and honestly, we might have been perfectly timing this because we got 1 more minute until basically we got like a minute and a half until the new freight cars come in for us to move. So that will actually work perfect with this situation. We got $12,000 basically still left over. Um, So we will be able to do that. And then one thing is, you do have to pay, like as you can see, interest payment, 2,000 in 3 days, 19 hours. Now you can start to pay off your loans, and usually you can pay it off easily. However, if you don't pay it off, this is going to be the default that it takes out, slowly paying off your loans. Just how it works. Now, as you can see, we can take out more of a loan because our current loan is 20,000. We now, because we own more rolling stock, we can now take out another $10,000 in our loan. Ah! Excuse me, sorry. But then our interest goes up to 2,800. Just how it works. We also now have a new reputation. So, as you saw, we technically bought it earlier, but now we are overall a 100% good reputation in our railroad. And now it's 5 a.m. We get our rolling stock. And what I always do is I basically like to separate. So as you can see, there's Ellis Farm, so we can leave these. But these two, we're going to want to separate them because they're going to cause us a little bit of problems in the long run because they're not going to the same location. So you want to just take those brakes off. You have these. I always leave a brake on all my rolling stock so it does not go running away. And you have these. Like, this is a very heavy train, so you've got brakes on these already. But yeah, you do have your train follow protocols like going over points. It goes down to about 15 miles an hour, so it does not derail. It does help because if it did not do that, I cannot tell you how many locomotives I would have derailed. Way too many. Way too many. And luckily, I think we're going to be just about an hour of filming. As I said, this game does take a bit of time to record or anything like that. This is one of the games that I like to play, but I probably will more often try to live stream it once I learn how to do that. But yeah, this is probably where I'm going to leave it off after I move these rolling stock. And then I'll probably start this video off next with us moving these freight cars towards the bridge in Ella. This is Ian, and I hope you all have a good day. Bye-bye.